Hello, I'm Mark Dolan, and here is a story that will shock you. Do you remember when war was bad and we didn't want young people's lives being lost as a result of the failure of politicians? Well, in a shocking new development, a man called Serhiy Lyshenko, an advisor to President Volodymyr Zelensky's chief of staff, has revealed that American politicians are now pressurizing Ukraine to lower the minimum age of conscription from 25 to 18 to make more young men available for combat. How easy for lawmakers on Capitol Hill in Washington to call for young men who have just left school to leave their families and loved ones and take up arms against Russia. Here's a question for you. Would they be as cavalier about the lives of their own children? The 18-year-old offspring of many of these rich US politicians aren't faced with the horrors of a bloody war. Their kids are ensconced at woke North American universities doing a degree in queer history or gender studies, the only taxing part of their day being forced to work out what their pronouns are. This heartless intervention shows an appalling lack of empathy and an appetite within the US political class for more death and more carnage, this time among Ukraine's brightest and best, the young people that make up its future in what many fear is becoming a forever war. Well, let me tell you, there are plenty in the political establishment, there are some in the media too, who would love this to be a forever war. Why? Well, because there's money to be made and power to be had. Now, let's be abundantly clear. Russia's invasion of Ukraine was truly egregious and wrong. Putin must not prevail. But who are US lawmakers to speak on behalf of ordinary Ukrainian families? Now, back in April, President Zelensky, the pop culture king of smart casual combat wear, signed a bill that lowered the minimum conscription age in Ukraine from 27 to 25. The aforementioned advisor, Lyshenko, said that Zelensky is resisting pressure to start conscripting 18-year-olds. Too right he is, because he's not a psychopath. How old-fashioned of him to not want his youngest adult citizens to die. Lyshenko goes on, President Zelensky did not give in and continues to try to persuade politicians from both parties to provide weapons without changing the draft age. Who could argue with that? Well, Senator Lindsey Graham, by the looks of it, who seems quite comfortable with the idea of a fight to the end.
I like the structural path we're on here. As long as we help Ukraine with the weapons they need and the economic support, they will fight to the last person.
Did you hear those words? I like the path that we're on. Do you indeed? Senator Graham has also called for younger Ukrainians to be sent to the front lines, saying, and I quote, I would hope that those eligible to serve in the Ukrainian military would join. He says, I can't believe the conscription starts at 27. He goes on, you're in a fight for your life, so you should be serving. We need, he says, more people in the front line. How is this any of his business? Send your own kids, Senator Graham, if you feel so strongly about it. Using the internet without a VPN is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. We want to help protect you. This video's sponsor, Private Internet Access, is the VPN to help keep you safe. Now, you might be asking, what is a VPN? Well, a virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and safeguards your internet connection through an encrypted tunnel. This way, it shields your digital life from the eyes of those that are looking to exploit your private information. Whenever you connect to the internet on a public Wi-Fi network, such as at airports, coffee shops, friends' houses, or even in your own home, your data is at risk of being stolen. Hackers that are connected to the same Wi-Fi network have the ability to steal your personal data with ease. T-Mobile reached a settlement this year with the US Federal Communications Commission after they suffered data breaches in 2021, 22, and 23. In 2023 alone, over 37 million customers' data was exposed. And it's not just hackers to be concerned about. Information can be censored. When Canada passed their C-18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news content that you love. Private internet access is available for all platforms: Windows, macOS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one private internet access subscription to protect an unlimited number of devices at the same time. Plus, we've got a huge GB News discount. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get 83% off PIA. That is under £2 a month, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free. There's also a 30-day money-back guarantee. So head to piavpn.com/GB News to start protecting yourself digitally today. So, is all of this about liberating the people of Ukraine from an evil Russian invasion? Not if these other comments by Senator Graham are anything to go by. Take a listen.
What did Trump do to get the weapons flowing? He created a loan system. They're sitting on $10 to $12 trillion of critical minerals in Ukraine. They could be the richest country in all of Europe. I don't want to give that money and those assets to Putin to share with China. If we help Ukraine now, they can become the best business partner we ever dreamed of. That $10 to $12 trillion of critical mineral assets could be used by Ukraine and the West, not given to Putin and China. This is a very big deal how Ukraine ends. Let's help them win a war we can't afford to lose. Let's find a solution to this war. But they're sitting on a gold mine to give Putin $10 or $12 trillion of critical minerals that he will share with China is ridiculous.
Now that clip raises serious ethical questions. I do take Senator Graham's point about handing precious resources to Russia and therefore potentially, ultimately China. And look, Graham is a decent and principled guy. He's an experienced politician. He may be coming from a good place here. But in that clip, he effectively talks about a post-war business partnership between the US and Ukraine. Are we really willing to send young Ukrainians to their deaths for economic gain? It is a chilling thought. And even the most cursory glance at US history will tell you that that approach doesn't end well. Overall, this rhetoric from various figures in Washington is deeply troubling. It paints a picture of a proxy war where the lives of young Ukrainians are expendable. The pressure to lower the draft age to 18 is part of this broader strategy. It's about ensuring a steady supply of soldiers to continue the fight regardless of the human costs. Now, is it just me? Or does all of this have echoes of the First World War? Let's not forget, we're talking about 18-year-olds here. Young men who should be starting their adult lives, not being thrust into the horrors of war. The psychological and physical toll of combat is immense. Many of these young men will return home, if they return at all, with deep scars that will affect them for the rest of their lives. It's a stark reminder of the often unseen human cost of geopolitical strategies. So where do we go from here? Well, it's crucial that we hold our leaders accountable. We must question the motivations behind these decisions and advocate for policies that prioritize human life and dignity over economic and strategic interests. The Ukrainian people deserve our support, but that support should not come at the cost of their youngest and brightest. Now, to be fair, for once, this is not an exclusively left versus right debate, although it is worth noting that there's more skepticism about US support for Ukraine, given the enormous financial and humanitarian cost, among Republicans, which is so confusing because most of the US media on a daily basis tell us that they're the bad people, especially that orange man. But surely, whatever your politics, the answer is for this war to end. Maybe Western leaders should be engaging with both parties rather than writing a blank check on human life. Too many people have died in this awful war, and too many people are going to die. Throwing money at it is one thing, and we can debate that all day long. It's been a hot topic of debate for months now. But young lives are a commodity which cannot be replaced, and which Ukraine cannot afford to lose if it is to have a future when this nightmare eventually ends. It's a crazy idea, I know, but maybe, just maybe, we should give peace a chance. I'm Mark Dolan. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and thank you for watching GB News on YouTube.